Welcome to Wraith Frequency, where every whisper carries a shadow. Tonight, we tune in to another tale, never meant to be heard, so sit back, turn down the lights, and listen closely, because once the signal starts, you won't be alone anymore. It was 12:58 a.m. when my last train got cancelled and the station lights dimmed like the building was trying to fall asleep. The announcement was cheerful in that cruel way. We apologize for the inconvenience. Outside, the city had thinned into empty roads and damp air. I opened my map app, thumb hovering over rideshare prices that felt like punishment for being stranded. Then I saw a bus stop sign across the street I'd never noticed before. The sign looked official, clean font, reflective paint, a timetable behind plastic. At the top, Route N0. Under it, a list of stops that sounded familiar enough to be believable. My neighborhood was on there, so was the hospital. So was Old Market. The next bus was due in 2 minutes. I stared at the road. No headlights, no engine noise, just the faint buzz of a street lamp and the distant hush of tires on wet asphalt. It appeared without drama. No roar, no bright approach, just a dark shape sliding into the stop like it had been there the whole time. The doors opened with a soft sigh. Inside, the lights were low and yellowed, like an old photograph. The driver didn't look at me. He wore a cap pulled too low, face swallowed by shadow. I stepped on, tapped my card out of habit. The machine didn't beep. It didn't reject. It simply accepted, like it had been waiting for my touch. There were maybe 6 people scattered through the bus. None of them were on their phones. None of them spoke. They sat too still, heads tilted slightly downward as if listening to something below the floor. I took a seat halfway back. My reflection in the dark window looked pale, stretched, unfamiliar. The doors closed. The bus started moving, smoothly, silently, like it wasn't rolling over a road at all. The first stop came fast. The bus slowed, opened its doors, and waited. No one got off. No one got on. Outside, there was no bus shelter, no street sign, just a stretch of pavement leading into a narrow alley that looked wrong, too deep, too black. A ding sounded, soft and polite. The driver spoke for the first time, voice like dry paper. Next, I checked my phone. It still said 1:04 a.m. A minute later, it still said 1:04 a.m. My battery icon flickered between percentages, like it couldn't decide how much life it had left. The signal bars were full, yet nothing would load. I opened my map. My blue dot was gone. Not misplaced. Gone. Then a message appeared, unsent in my drafts. I hadn't typed it. Do not sleep. At the third stop, the woman in the front seat turned her head slowly toward me. Her eyes were open too wide, glassy like she'd been crying for hours. She didn't speak at first. Her lips moved without sound. Then, very softly, she said, "You're breathing too loud." My throat tightened. I tried to control my breaths, but that only made me aware of how loud the bus was in a different way. Full of tiny creaks and distant taps, like fingernails on metal from somewhere underneath. The display above the driver blinked. Your street. I hadn't seen it listed. I was sure I hadn't. The bus pulled over. The doors opened. Outside was my street. Same corner shop sign, same lamppost, same cracked pavement. Relief flooded me so hard it made me dizzy. I stood up. Every passenger on the bus turned their heads toward me at once, perfectly synchronized. The woman mouthed something again. This time I heard it clearly. Don't. I stepped down anyway. The air felt slightly too warm, like the night was breathing. The bus doors closed behind me with finality, and the bus rolled away without turning on any lights. I walked toward my building. Everything looked right until I reached the entrance and saw the intercom. My name was there twice. 2 identical labels. I buzzed mine. No answer. I buzzed again. From the speaker came my own voice, perfectly normal, perfectly tired. Who is it? I stumbled back, heart hammering, and looked down the street. The bus stop sign was gone. No pole, no timetable, nothing but bare pavement. My phone finally updated the time. 3:33 a.m. A new notification slid onto the screen. From no app I recognized. Route N0 delivered. Then another. Return trip tonight. Behind my building's glass door, I saw a silhouette moving toward the lobby, wearing my coat, walking with my tired posture, raising a hand as if to unlock the door from the inside. And I realized the bus hadn't taken me home. It had taken me out and dropped something else back in my place. It was 1:20 a.m. when the convenience store got quiet in a way that felt staged, like the world had stepped back to watch me alone under fluorescent lights. I'd taken the night shift because it paid extra and because I told myself I wasn't the kind of person who got scared. The store manager had given me a key, a bored look, and one strange instruction. If the bell rings and you don't see anyone, don't say hello. Around 1:37 a.m., the doorbell chimed. I looked up from my phone. The automatic doors slid open, and no one walked in. Outside, the car park was empty. The street beyond was empty. The glass reflected the aisles behind me and my own face hovering pale over rows of snacks. The doors slid shut again. Then the bell rang a second time without the doors opening. I told myself it was electrical, old sensors, cheap wiring. I turned toward the security monitor behind the counter, the little screen that showed 4 angles of the store. Camera 1, front door, empty. Camera 2, aisle 3, empty. Camera 3, back stockroom hallway, dark. Camera 4, counter. Me, sitting there. Except on the monitor, I wasn't looking at the screen. On the monitor, I was looking straight ahead, smiling faintly, like I was waiting for someone to approach. My phone rang. The manager. I answered too fast. "Hey, something's wrong with the cameras." He didn't respond right away. When he did, his voice was lower than usual. "It's ringing, isn't it?" My skin went cold. "The bell? Yeah, twice." A long pause, then he said, "I told you. Don't say hello." I didn't. Another pause, heavier. "Did you look outside?" "Yes." His breath caught like I'd stepped on a landmine. "Okay," he said quickly. "Listen, there's a rule we don't put in writing." He spoke slowly, like speaking too clearly might attract attention. "If it rings and there's no one, you keep your head down. You don't acknowledge it, you don't check the doors, and you don't, under any circumstance, look into the glass after 2 a.m. I laughed out of fear. "Why?" "You'll see something that learns you," he said. Then he hung up. I watched the clock roll to 2 a.m. like it was a deadline in a horror movie I couldn't turn off. The store felt colder. Not temperature cold, presence cold. The bell rang again. This time, the automatic doors opened halfway, like someone was holding them back. Something scraped softly against the glass, like a fingernail testing thickness. A sound came from the aisles, a quiet conversational sigh. Then a voice from aisle 3, too calm to belong at night. "Excuse me?" I didn't answer. My mouth was dry. The voice repeated, closer. "Excuse me." On the security monitor, camera 2, aisle 3, showed nothing. But camera 4, the counter view, showed a figure standing behind me just out of my peripheral vision, head tilted toward my ear. My eyes drifted toward the front windows without me deciding to. The glass was dark, reflective, like a mirror to the night. For a split second, I saw myself behind the counter, and someone beside me. The figure's face was pressed to the window from the outside, nose flattened, lips stretched in a too-wide grin. It lifted a hand and waved. My stomach lurched. The manager's words snapped back. "Don't look into the glass after 2 a.m." But I already had. The bell rang again. And again. Every ring made the lights flicker slightly, like the store was blinking. The doors began opening and closing on their own. Not fully, just enough for the bell to chime, just enough to suggest entry without allowing it. On camera 4, the version of me on screen stopped smiling. It leaned forward toward the camera, eyes widening like it had finally noticed the real me. Then it mouthed words without sound. "Move." I grabbed my keys and ran for the back stockroom, not caring about rules anymore. The hallway camera had been dark, but the hallway itself was lit, too lit, like someone had turned the brightness up to wash out details. At the end of the corridor was the back exit, safety sign glowing green. I shoved it open and stumbled outside, into the car park, into cold air that felt real. I didn't stop running until I hit the main road. When I finally looked back at the store, the front windows reflected the aisles like normal. Lights steady, doors still. But behind the counter, through the glass, I saw someone standing in my place, wearing my uniform, head tilted in that same patient way, smiling faintly at the empty store. As the bell chimed softly over and over, like it was greeting customers that weren't there. You've been listening to Wraith Frequency. If this tale kept your pulse a little too high, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps the signal travel deeper into the dark. Got a story of your own? Leave it in the comments, and maybe your voice will echo here next time. Until then, stay aware, stay in the light, and keep your ears open, because the next frequency might already be calling you.